Well, welcome to Empowering the Knowledge Economy, AI Workforce Tools Showcase. Today, I want to introduce 3 entrepreneurs changing the way we work, making our work more efficient. First up, we have Dennis Xu, who's the founder of Mem.ai, the world's first self-organizing workspace, designed to mimic and augment the way you already think. Go ahead.
Testing, mic check, great. All right, so I'm Dennis. I'm one of the founders of Mem.ai, and we're building the world's first self-organizing workspace. What does that mean? So to put it simply, we use the bleeding edge in AI to automatically help you organize all of the information that you have access to as a knowledge worker. So everything from the notes that you take, to the emails you send and receive, to the messages you send and receive, to your meetings, all of that. But most importantly, what we do with that is we actually transform that information into knowledge that is then usable in your day-to-day lives. So over the course of the next few minutes, I'm going to show you a series of demos and capabilities. And at the end, I'm going to show you some things that are actually unreleased that we're planning to release over the next few weeks that leverage some of this stuff. And of course, we're at an education conference, so a lot of the examples will be education focused. All right, well, without further ado, we'll start simple. This is just the home surface of Mem. So here you'll find everything you need in one place, including the notes. We call these Mems today, upcoming meetings, and a sneak peek at one of the first AI capabilities, which is Mems you may have missed. So it'll intelligently surface based on what the rest of your team has been looking at, information that might be relevant to you, and even give you an AI-generated summary here on the right side. Now, let's say I go into one of my lecture Mems. I'm a student, so I go into CS 142 Lecture 1. And this is a front-end web development class. So these are my notes from the first lecture. And I'll just add a little bit of lightweight organization here. And I'll via collections, what we call collections. We don't use folders because folders are an archaic way of organizing information. They're not flexible. You can only put one thing in one folder. You can only put something in a single folder. But the way our brains work are much more associative. So I put it in that collection, and you'll see why that matters soon. Now, moving on, on the right sidebar, what you'll see once you do that is what we call similar Mems. You can kind of think of this as a heads-up display or an always-on search. So Mem is always working on your behalf. It'll go and try to find relevant information based on whatever you're looking at. And in this case, for example, it'll automatically surface the Lecture 2 notes, the Lecture 3 notes, which you don't really need bleeding edge AI to do that. But what is really interesting is it also surfaced this front-end engineering job description, right? And now you're seeing it make these fuzzy connections between this lecture that is about front-end engineering and this class about front-end engineering and this job description that you've saved. But it's one thing to be able to actually make this connection and show you information that's relevant. What can I actually do with it? And this is where the magic really comes. So let's say you've also saved your resume inside of Mem, and we'll just pause here and take a brief look. So, okay, Stanford student has worked at Fizz, has worked at LinkedIn. There's some activities here. Okay, great. So now we have this resume. And let's say you open up a new document, and you ask the Mem assistant, one sec. Give it a few seconds. Great. So you open up a new document, and you ask the Mem assistant, hey, can you write me a cover letter for the Mem front-end engineering internship? So what it's going to do here after you press enter is a few things. First of all, it's going to go and actually look across everything that you've already saved to your Mem, including the resume that is right here, including the job description that you saved before, And then it'll turn that and transform that into a coherent cover letter that is exactly crafted for that use case. So if I hit continue, now you'll see it's thinking, and in a matter of seconds, it'll provide you a fully fledged cover letter. So let's just take a look at that. Notice how it mentions the software engineering internship at Fizz, past work experiences, and the skills that are tailor-made for that use case. So this is just one of the first examples of actually having a truly personalized artificial intelligence based on all of the knowledge that you already have inside of Mem. And now actually, let's say that I'm actually not happy with the first paragraph that it came up with. I thought it lacked personality, it was kind of sterile. So I wanted to make it funnier, and I also want to add some more specific information about why I actually want to work at Mem. Within a matter of seconds, it gives me that, and it adds a joke about being a productivity nerd in there. Great. Moving on. So now what I'm going to do is, let's say I go and I give this a title. And I give it the title Mem cover letter. And then going back to kind of one of the first things we talked about, this idea of collections and smart collections, let's say now I go to my job search collection on the left side here. So I click into that. And this is a collection of items that involves everything related to my job search. And one of the things you'll notice is it's automatically making the relationship between the job search and the Mem cover letter. And it suggests that like a Spotify playlist would. You click add, and now you have a nice collection in your job search. And lastly, what I'm about to show you here is something that is not released yet. It's called the Mem Assistant. And it's truly a personalized knowledge assistant that leverages a lot of very familiar UX that I think over the last few months people has also taken the world by storm. And that is simply just a natural language conversation, being able to actually chat with an assistant that truly feels like it knows and understands you. So I'm going to show you 4 use cases here, but really the power of this is that it's a generalizable assistant that operates across all of your knowledge, regardless of what it is, regardless of what profession you are, regardless of what you do. So going back to some of the earlier notes that we had about CS142, let's say I ask it for a series of flashcards that are based off of my Lecture 3 notes. So I just type that in, and in the matter of seconds, it'll actually design a fully personalized study notes and study experience for me. And then after this, let's say what I want is I actually want Mem to show me my weekly notes from my group project meetings. So I type that in, and this time, it recognizes that I'm actually not looking for a specific answer, like via a chat response. What I'm actually looking for is a collection of items. And in this case, it pulls up my team weekly notes, and there it is. And then now, switching gears a bit, let's say tomorrow I'm going to Austin, and I'm checking in, and I need my frequent flyer number. So I ask Mem, what is my frequent flyer number? And it dynamically decides, based on the information that I've given it through my emails, the note that's sourced there, it pulls up a series of frequent flyer numbers from Delta, United, and Southwest, and allows me to actually click through these. And then lastly, the example is I'm in Austin, and I want to know what restaurants I should actually go to. So I ask what are some restaurant recommendations that I have saved before, not going on Yelp or Google, but that I've saved before that other people have told me about. And voila, there it is. So that's Mem. We're building the world's first self-organizing workspace. We transform information into knowledge and make it useful for you. Thank you. Thanks.
Next, we have Kian Katanforoosh, the CEO and co-founder of Workera. a skills intelligence platform providing a more meritocratic way to measure people's skills.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kian. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Workera. Prior to Workera, I worked a long time with Andrew Ng to start the deep learning class at Stanford and launch a company called deeplearning.ai. Today, I won't talk about AI classes. I will talk about skills intelligence. Let me see how this works. So at Workera, we do skills intelligence. It means we help enterprises and governments transform in all sorts of new skills, tech skills, AI, cloud, cybersecurity, software DevOps, etc. And you may wonder what skills intelligence is. So let me start from explaining that. Enterprises have very complex and crowded talent stacks, starting from online course providers, but also LMSs and LXPs, as well as recruiting tools like applicant tracking systems and all sorts of talent softwares that help them run their workforce. While these softwares have changed the way we operate talent and workforces, they have no objective measurements. The levels at which they describe skills is really high level, and there are a lot of noisy signals. So most of the data on talent is either self-reported by the employee in the form of a survey, of a resume, or of a LinkedIn profile. It is sometimes tracked over course completions. I've created courses with over 1 million certificates delivered. Not everyone coming out of that course has the same level of proficiency. And this lack of data impacts personalization, engagement, measurements of outcomes. And you've all heard about the low completion rates on the online course side, but also the poor decision-making that is made across all talent softwares. So what we do with skills intelligence is that we provide essentially granular skills and verified signals to all the enterprise talent ecosystem, so that we can make all these tools much more effective. For example, in upskilling, once you know your employees' skills at a very granular level, you can personalize upskilling and accelerate learning by a factor of 3 to 5x with the focus that you provide. And this is what allows enterprises to transform faster in a world that is moving much faster than before. So transforming at the end of the day means being able to guide your workforce from today to the future. And if you want to understand really how to transform, you need to understand where you are today. You need to understand where you're going in the future and connect the dots between both. So what we're hearing in the enterprise is at the manager level, what skills do we have? What skills are we missing in our team to deliver our projects on time? If you're leading an organization that is larger, you're asking the same questions essentially, but at the level of the workforce and the strategic initiatives that you have. If you're an employee, you're asking a very similar question, which is what skills do I have? What benchmarks do I meet? And what skills do I need to develop in order to progress in my career, for example, to be promoted? And with AI and precise skills data, what we do at Workera is essentially answer these questions. And the question starts with setting granular goals for the future that are tied to business objectives or projects. So we've introduced a skills ontology tool that has over 7,000 open skills that any enterprise can use and have been built by experts. And one thing that is unique about our ontology is the granularity. So while machine learning may be called a skill on many talent platforms out there, on Workera, machine learning is a domain. We break it down into subdomains, which we break down into topics, which we break down into subtopics, and into hundreds of skills. So machine learning is over 100 skills. Each skill is tied to a certain level of cognition in Bloom's taxonomy, and we measure probably 3 to 4 levels of cognition today at Workera with our assessments. We can report data across the entire graph of skills. If you're looking for skills that are not in our ontology, you also have a way to create your own ontologies on our tool with AI-powered skill authoring. So here's an example with deep neural networks. You can break it down into subdomains and topics all the way down into skills, and we help you and assist you essentially just as if you had a psychometrician sitting next to you, helping you do all of that in a very rigorous manner. And we do that not only for technical skills or technical practitioners. We do it for an entire workforce transformation. Usually, transformations will have several segments of population. So for an AI transformation, you will find a center of excellence where you have the machine learning engineers, the data scientists, the data engineers, and they're the ones that are building those AI systems. But you also have a ton of what we call AI plus X individuals, data plus X. Those are mechanical engineers, electrical engineers, material scientists, aerospace engineers that are trying to acquire an AI toolkit to build their subject matter expertise. You also have people that are interfacing with technical individuals, and we provide the level of fluency across those transformative technologies, and also the broader population in the enterprise, which needs a fair bit of literacy for the transformation to be successful as a whole. So we do that across all of these groups. So you can look at each group and configure the platform the way you want. So for example, if you want to do it for a data scientist, you can pull together certain skills ontologies, set certain proficiency levels, and put it in a certification program. We test everyone, and we make sure that we push them toward the target scores that you want them to achieve. Those target scores are calibrated by psychometricians, and we help them tie it to your projects and strategic initiatives. So this is a little sneak peek at the pathway creation tool. Once you understand your goals for the future and you've turned your projects into skills, you want to understand your skills gap. And so what we have is a new way to mix psychometrics and AI to measure on a continual basis a workforce. So it's not a one-off assessment. It's an assessment that evolves with you, that will mix all sorts of ways and measurement instruments. We may have very rigorous instruments to measure someone. We may also have very flexible and lightweight measurements that may not be as rigorous, but track the progress of someone. Essentially, our technology can measure someone on a few skills and use our millions of measurements, as well as the semantic connections between skills, to predict hundreds of skills within roughly an hour, and then we keep going. And that data would fuel on your dashboards, and you access it over time. Once you understand where you are today and where you want to go to the future, you can start guiding your workforce. And so we do what we call hyper-personalized upskilling. And the reason we can do it is because we have granular skills data on the employees. And so we're not at risk to show them a course that is irrelevant or too easy or too hard for them. We tap into the content that you have available in the enterprise. We don't do any content ourselves. So we connect to all the major edtech providers. We pull those contents. We mix their courses with free content that has been curated and indexed in our platform. And sometimes we also generate AI content because we understand the granular skills of the person. And we know that some content providers may not have those skills, so we layer it in. And so this provides a very hyper-personalized, comprehensive upskilling pathway for employees. And so the reason we exist today and enterprises are using us is because innovation is moving so fast. If you've been in AI for a while, in 2015, TensorFlow, PyTorch, all of these deep learning frameworks started coming out. And the TensorFlow we learned in 2015 is completely different from the one you learn now typically. 2016, generative adversarial networks, the beginning of really generative becoming a thing in the enterprise. 2017, transformer architectures came out, which led later on to the language models that we're seeing today. 2018, responsible AI became a huge topic. We have a set of responsible AI assessments that we built with Accenture and that they're using across a portion of their workforce. And then 2019 MLOps tools have come, and there's just an entire environment and ecosystem of MLOps tools, and so on. Data-centric AI, something Andrew Ng has been talking about since 2020, roughly, using small data for AI purposes. And then 2022 latent diffusion model, and now here we are in 2023 with generative AI. It's been moving so fast, and who knows what's going to come out next year, honestly. I don't even know. The one thing we know is that learning is the new norm. Every employee is asking, is my enterprise going to support me in learning all these new things and keep innovating? And so what we do is we help accelerate that learning velocity for enterprises. One thing we just launched is a new set of generative AI skills assessments that is available to our customers and on waitlist for non-customers. So if you're interested in testing your workforce on generative AI, we can now do that. And we have a public ontology that is launching in the next month on that. It will include two different sets of assessments, one for technical individuals that we call ChatGPT technical, and one for everyone, generative AI for everyone. Those, again, as I said earlier, break down the domain into subdomains, into topics, into individual skills, and will try to benchmark you in one of multiple proficiency levels. And you can see the proficiency level descriptors on the left side of the slide. And same thing for the technical ChatGPT, which is going to be a very exciting assessment that is targeted for engineers who are trying to leverage those language models. And we can test them across multiple subdomains, multiple topics, multiple skills at different levels of cognitions and proficiency levels. So that's it for Workera. Thank you for listening. I hope it was informative.
And lastly, we have Arvind Jain, who's the CEO of Glean Technologies, the search engine for the workplace, making it easy to search and find answers across a myriad of your software applications.
Thank you, everyone, for attending this presentation. My name is Arvind. I'm the CEO of Glean, which is a search engine for workplaces and businesses. We are a 4-year-old company, started in 2019, funded by top venture capital firms from Silicon Valley, like Sequoia and Kleiner Perkins. And most of us are ex-search engineers. We built our careers at Google in the past, and we're trying to bring some of those experiences back into workplaces and enterprises. So I was thinking about going through a long presentation, but then I felt that maybe the better use of time would be to actually show a live version of the product and a demo. So I'll quickly talk about a few things about why Glean exists, what we're building, and then we'll jump into a live presentation of our product. So the goal, what you've seen in the businesses today, or whether it's universities, educational institutions, we are all dealing with an explosion of knowledge. There's the amount of knowledge that we have to work with to do our jobs as knowledge workers has been going up every year. In fact, there's an interesting chart that's on the bottom of the screen, which says that the amount of knowledge that exists in the world is doubling every 12 hours. This is a study done by IBM, and it points to the core challenge that we're living in this world where we have to deal with a lot of information, and not just information that is in one place where we could go and access it, but typically this information is fragmented across many different systems, whether on the internet or inside of your internal business systems, and it's extremely hard for people to actually get access to it when they need it to do their job. And so that's what Glean does. Glean is built for an employee in an organization, and Glean connects with all of your company information, your organization's information, and makes it easily accessible to your employees. So in some sense, you can think of it as Google, but Google over your enterprise or organization's information. So that's what we are. Let's jump into a demo from here. So I'm going to skip some of these slides from here and go into a demo. So let's see if you can switch to it. Is it not connected? Should I unplug and plug in? There you go. Excellent. Alrighty, so what I'm showing to you right now is a version of Glean as we run it in our own organization, and so we'll start with just like doing a simple it's like a search engine. So like we'll start with let's say that I'm a engineer, a new engineer in our company, and I have some questions about how to onboard on this new project that I'm working on. So I can go and start typing in the name of that project right here. And as I'm actually typing my question, the system is trying to find the right pieces of knowledge from all the different enterprise systems that we use and suggest those to me. This is also going to help me complete my question. But let's ignore that and actually do a search. Now, when I complete this search, this is the core experience. So it very much looks like Google. You did a search, and you get these results, which are a collection of related resources to the question that you've asked, coming from all the different enterprise applications that you use. So if you use applications like OneDrive or SharePoint, Confluence, Slack, Teams, Glean is going to connect with all of those systems, figure out where there is relevant information that is going to answer your question, and bring it all to you in one place. So you don't have to actually go and hunt for information in 10 different places, which is what most people struggle with. They say that, hey, I had this conversation with somebody, I just don't know whether I did it over an email or did I do it on in Teams, or was I just commenting on a document or a issue tracking system and communicating with the person. So people often forget where things are, and that's what Glean helps them with. So we'll bring this information all in one place for you. It's also a place where you can, once you sort of, you get these results and you want to narrow it down, say that, no, I'm looking for a piece of information that was actually created only in the last 1 month, and show me only that piece of information. So you can actually quickly go and use these filters and say, that, show me things from the last 1 month, or show me things from a particular person. And so that sort of allows you to quickly drill down and get to that exactly the right piece of information that you're looking for. So this is the basic search experience. Glean is also your people search tool. So it actually connects with your people systems. If it's a university, it's going to actually connect with your your faculty database, student database. If it's a enterprise, it's going to connect with your HRIS systems, and then it gives you a very rich organizational navigation experiences, so that you can learn about what people work on, who are experts on certain topics and things like that. So let's do an example of that. So I'm going to just search for a person who I'm trying to contact. So I'll just type his name, and as I type his name, the system is going to show the results. I'm going to click on one of them, and here you go. I was looking for more information on Eddie, so I can see all of this. This card that is built for, which gives me a lot of information about him, both how I can contact him, over all these different mediums. What does he work on? Who are the team members, that he works with? What projects does he spends his time on, but also things like who are his most frequent collaborators, how I have actually worked with them in the past on, and what they're working on today. And so this is a tool that you can use to sort of just stay connected with your enterprise, with your organization. If you want to actually learn what's happening today in the company, what's happening among people who I work with, so then you use this people search feature of Glean. And then finally, I'll also show you another experience. So Glean is also a conversational search engine. So you can actually talk to it like an it's like an assistant for you, and most of you have probably seen products like ChatGPT, and also probably are quite a bit worried about how those things work. So we have a safer version of that product built for your organization or for your business, where people can come in and interact with our product just as a conversational agent or an assistant. You can come and ask questions to it. So here's an example, where I just asked Glean, who can help me learn more about Scholastic. Scholastic is a deep learning-based machine learning system that we use in our company. And so I want to learn more about it. So just I freely express my questions in natural language. Glean is going to actually go and search across your company information, and then find who are the experts who can actually go and help me on this. So once you do that, you can actually sort of engage in that long conversation with it, and ask follow-on questions. So here I asked, okay, who can give me an overview of this system? And when I ask this question, you don't need to actually say this again, what system I'm talking about. It sort of remembers the context of the conversation from before, and then uses that information to then answer for further questions like that. So anyway, so that's sort of just a high-level overview of Glean. Think of it again as it's the Google or a conversational search engine for your organization, something that helps your people save a lot of time, find quick answers to their questions that they have every day. Thank you so much for listening to me.